Hey guys, it is me again. Today is Friday, the 8th, I believe, June the 8th. Makes it day 160 on our Daily Bread Project 2012. Guys, as normal, if we have any audio, video sync problems, any lag, I am sorry about that. I know I watched last night's video, or at least my raw version on my webcam. I rewatched it and it was good. So, like I've said before, I can tell when I end the videos by if as soon as I push the stop button, it stops and it says the video's that long, that I'm good. But if I stop it at 10 minutes, and by the time it gets done doing everything, it comes up and says the video's 10:15, then I know that it's going to be off, because it's got that missing time in there somewhere. I don't know why it does it, but anyway, guys, like I said, be patient with me on that. Maybe for too long, I can get up the nerve to switch all this stuff over and get me a new computer. But like I said, guys, it is good to be here tonight. Guys, I'm going to have to, well, I'm not breaking a promise. I'm delaying. I told you guys last night I was going to start answering comments every night, for every video, and I am. But I'm not going to be able to answer last night's videos tonight. It's 2 o'clock in the morning right now, guys, getting this video up. And I've got to try to be, you guys know that normally I don't work on Saturdays. I've told you guys that, for you astute viewers that remember stuff like that. I don't work on Saturdays usually. But tomorrow I need to, number one, because we got more stuff scheduled tomorrow than we normally do on a Saturday. But number two, I got a truck that I need to drive. It's one that I was supposed to drive today. I'm supposed to, I did a little work on it, and I was going to drive it to see if it helped it any or not. And, if not, kind of take it a step further. And I didn't get to. I got to work today, and everything was crazy. We were trying to get all these tires and everything put on, trying to get our money back, and just getting stuff done. And then my worker had, he comes up, and I got to leave early, and he left at like 3:30. So, here right in the middle of just being bombarded, here I stood with no help. So, anyway, I didn't get to drive the truck, is what I'm getting at. So, I'm going to have to try to do it tomorrow. Even though I'm not going to probably be working on it till Monday, I need to at least try to drive it. That way I can see if I helped it any or not, and if not, try to mull it over the weekend and try to think, try to figure out some stuff. It's one of those deals, guys. It's just a weird deal. It's a weird truck. I may end up having to get Scanner Danner to help me on it. It's one of those deals that it misfires sometimes, but then sometimes it don't. And when it does misfire, it does not show. Most General Motors cars, you can pull your scanner data up, and it'll show misfires on each cylinder, and it figures that out through your crank sensor. As the engine speeds up and slows down on certain cylinders, it figures that out, which cylinder's missing. And when this truck does miss, it'll miss so bad, that you can't even hardly set in it, and it still won't show which cylinder it's on. It doesn't even pick it up as a misfire. So, and like I said, it comes and goes. The guy has, of course, done all the normal stuff: spark plug wire, distributor cap, that kind of deal. He keeps saying that it's number 8 cylinder, that we told him that, like last time we checked the truck, and I just don't remember doing it. I don't remember telling him that. So, if I can narrow down even which cylinder it is, it's a lot easier to fix. But you got to figure that out. And this truck's got that old spider injection, they call it, which was one of GM's biggest goof-ups they've ever done. They don't use electronic fuel injectors. Well, it is electronic, but it's not. It's kind of an odd setup. They use big, goofy plastic tubes that stick down into the intake, and they're pressure fire. They build up pressure, and then once the pressure builds up to like 62 psi or 65 or whatever it is, then they pop. They call them poppets, and they fire. And it's just an odd deal that GM used, and they're bad for cracking because it's hard plastic. They're bad for, after several years of use, they get hot, they dry rot, they crack, they leak fuel. I think that's why I've got a negative 17% fuel trim at idle. I think I'm leaking fuel. And this, of course, this injection system is all underneath the intake manifold. So you got to take the whole top of the intake manifold off to even just look at it. So anyway, guys, what I'm trying to get at is I got to get there early tomorrow and at least drive this truck, so I can be trying to figure out and think a little bit more about it over the weekend. So I got to try to get this video in. I got to make it shorter. But guys, I had a good time here last night. I hope you all did too. I really did, guys. I felt the spirit moving on me last night more than I felt in a long time during one of these vids. I really have. I really did. So hope you all felt it too, and I hope we can continue that good going. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to be able to answer the comments tonight. Excuse me, for last night. But what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'll answer the comments for this video, and I'll go back and answer those as well, because I am making a commitment, guys, to doing that again. Brother Milo, we did want to say this before I continued. Brother, thank you for your shout out during your video today. Don't know if it's gained me any subscribers or anything yet, any views, but whether it did or not, brother, it's the thought that counts. And you're one of those guys that you are always thinking about other people, and I know the Lord will reward you for that. So thanks for that. And I do feel for your friend's family, brother. They're the one you talked about that killed himself there. I'm like you, a lot of these drugs, and Lyrica's one of them. There was a guy actually here. He was actually kin to a guy that used to work for me distantly. He actually overdosed on Lyrica. Well, among other things, he was taking more than Lyrica, but Lyrica was one of the big things that he took, that he, just took so much of it he couldn't stand it. But any of these drugs that do that make you have suicidal tendencies and that kind of stuff, I think if it does it 1 out of 10,000 people, they shouldn't be allowed to sell it. But and to be honest, that's all doctors are. They're drug dealers in white coats. I mean, just to be honest about it. Actually, it's funny that you made that video, because me and my aunt and my uncle were talking today about that, talking about that if we as Christians would trust God more with our bodies and with our health than running to the doctor every time something happened and taking a pill for it, how much better we would feel and how much better we would do. So anyway, brother, thank you for that shout out, and I'm waiting on my light switch. I just had to throw that in there, brother. I'm not no big fizz. I always like to poke at you over that. So anyway, guys, let's get started here tonight. Philippians chapter 2. I need to try to keep this video under 11-12 minutes if I can. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Here we go. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Just like us today, guys, we've got to work out that salvation. Each man has his own dealings between him and God, and that's what this is talking about here. Your relationship with God between every man is going to be different. For it is God, verse 13, which worketh in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. Do all things without murmurings and disputings. And guys, this is something that I used to have a problem with. Not the disputings part about it. It's talking about when you do things, do them without murmurings and disputings. Well, the disputings, like I said, I never did really have a problem with that. I wasn't big on arguing and fighting with people. But the murmurings, and I know the murmurings can mean different things. One thing it's talking about is talking about people. But my thing was, guys used to, and even in the church, and probably especially for the church, when I would get asked to do things, and like if it was encroaching on my free time, my time on the weekend or whatever, I would just, no, I don't want to, I would just complain about it. Maybe wouldn't complain about it to nobody else. I wouldn't let anybody know that I was letting it bother me that bad, but I would just, I would murmur to myself, and that's something that the Lord has worked with me with and taught me, do these things. If you'll just do them, go ahead and do them, even though they're not pleasant all the time. Just go ahead and do it. Do it in as much joy and as much gladness as you can, and I'll reward you for it. And I found that out to be true. So anyway, going on here in verse 15. that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. The guys, don't this suit us today? Among whom ye shine as lights in the world. Guys, this right here, we should take this verse right here, this Philippians 2:15, and this should be our battle cry today. That we may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. Guys, I truly believe, and I've said this before, the only thing that's keeping God's hand from squashing America down even, and it's still going to get worse, but the only thing that's keeping him from just plumb pulverizing us into the dust, literally from raining fire and brimstone from the sky on us, is the few good Christian people, the few good followers of his that are in this country. And I truly believe that. Holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain. Yea, and if I be offered upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I joy and rejoice with you all. For the same shall cause also do ye joy and rejoice with me. But I trust in the Lord Jesus to send Timotheus shortly unto you, that I also may be of good comfort when I know your state. So that he's telling me, I'm getting ready to send Timothy to you, so that he can report back to me how you're doing. For I have no man like-minded who will naturally care for your state. For all seek their own, not the things which are Jesus Christ. Paul's just being honest here. He's saying, I don't have anybody else I can send that has your best interest. He said everybody seems to have their own best interest in heart, not the interest of the Lord's, not the interest in growing the church, building this church, which is what they were doing here. This was the start of the Christian church. But ye know the proof of him, that his son with the Father, he hath served with me in the gospel. So he's just basically setting up Timothy's credentials, saying that he's the only one I really trust enough to do this, guys, because I've had other guys with me. He's basically saying, he don't say here, but he's implying that I've had other people helping me, and they seem to, as usual, with people that we see, they start out with vigor and want to serve the Lord, but then they fall by the wayside. They start seeing positions of power and maybe money, getting the whole money, and they get to where they want to do their own will. Just like guys with a lot of these prosperity preachers and these guys we see today, guys, that make my skin crawl. The sad thing is they started out, most of them, with good intentions. They started out really wanting to serve the Lord, and that was it. Mom still talks about today how back in the day, Oral Roberts, before he got power and money and turned into a lunatic, that she said, when he was going out and doing these tent revivals and going around the country doing these things, he was really doing it to serve the Lord. And she said, I really think he had good intentions then, but he let money and power corrupt him. The devil knows where to get that stronghold. He knows where to get that foot stuck in the door. It's through most men and most women, money and power. So anyway, guys, that's where we're going to stop tonight. We'll continue tomorrow night. Philippians 2:23 looks like. So as always, guys, like I said, I love you all. Thank you all for being here. If you need anything, let me know, and I will be answering comments tomorrow, guys, for both these nights. If it wasn't so late and I didn't have to get up and go to work early in the morning, I would do it tonight. But so I thank you all for all that. Let me know if you need anything. Good Lord willing, I'll be here tomorrow night, guys. Until I see you all again, good night, and God bless.